What if I told you that every time you eat pasta in Italy, enjoy curry in India, or taste a croissant in France, you are actually experiencing flavors that started in ancient Iran over 2,000 years ago? This is the incredible story of how one country secretly shaped the way the entire world cooks and eats. Iran, the land we know today as Persia, has been quietly influencing your favorite dishes for centuries, and most people have no idea. Picture this. It is the year 500 BC. The Persian Empire is the largest empire the world has ever seen. It stretches from India to Greece, from Egypt to Central Asia. They found ways to preserve food for long journeys across the desert. They created spice mixes that could turn simple ingredients into amazing meals. But the real power of Persia was not just in its armies. It was in its kitchens. In the royal palaces of ancient Persia, cooks were creating something revolutionary. They knew how to balance flavors in ways that modern chefs still study today. They understood that the right combination of spices could make people feel happy, comfortable, and welcome. Persian merchants traveled the world, carrying more than just silk and gold. Maybe it is a warm bowl of rice with vegetables. These show us exactly how Persian cooks prepared their food over 2,000 years ago. Many of these recipes sound surprisingly familiar to modern dishes we eat today. Maybe it is a sweet pastry with nuts and honey. Maybe it is a hearty stew with meat and dried fruits. We have only started to uncover how deeply Persian flavors and techniques have shaped the way we eat today. All of these dishes have roots that go back to ancient Persian kitchens. They carried recipes, cooking methods, and flavor combinations that would change how people cooked everywhere they went. It proved that sharing a meal could bring people from different cultures together. When you eat rice that is perfectly cooked, remember the Persian methods that made it possible. When Persian techniques reached new countries, local cooks would use their own ingredients, but keep the Persian methods. This is why you can find similar cooking styles in countries as different as Spain and Thailand. It is about bringing people together. It is about creating memories. It is about telling stories through taste. Even the way we mix spices in modern cooking comes from Persian traditions. They were perfecting the art of mixing sweet and sour flavors. They were learning how to cook rice in ways that made every grain perfect. Persian immigrants around the world continue to share their cooking traditions. Modern chefs are rediscovering ancient Persian techniques and using them to create new dishes. They were combining spices in ways that would make food taste better and last longer. These Persian cooks were like scientists. They experimented with different ingredients. But here is the most important part. These techniques did not stay in Persia. When Persian traders arrived in India, they brought their love of sweet and sour combinations. This helped create what we now know as Indian curry. When they traveled to China, their cooking methods influenced Chinese sweet and sour dishes. When they reached Europe, their pastry techniques eventually became the flaky croissants we love today. The Persians understood something that modern food scientists are just beginning to discover. Food is not just about feeding the body. Ancient Persian recipes show us that these cooks were incredibly advanced. Think about your favorite comfort food. Persian cooking was special because it could adapt to any place or culture. The famous Spanish paella uses Persian rice cooking techniques. The delicate pastries found in French bakeries use methods that Persian bakers perfected centuries ago. Recent discoveries by archaeologists have found ancient Persian recipe tablets. What makes this story even more amazing is that it is still happening. It showed that food could be beautiful, meaningful, and delicious all at the same time. Persian cuisine taught the world that cooking is an art form. The next time you enjoy a meal with complex flavors, think about the Persian cooks who first discovered how to balance sweet, sour, and savory tastes. This is just the beginning of our journey through the hidden history of Persian influence on world cuisine. The story continues as we follow ancient trade routes and discover how Persian merchants carried their culinary secrets across continents, changing the taste of the world forever.
The year is 130 BC. A Persian merchant named Darius loads his camels with more than just silk and precious stones. But it was not just goods that traveled these dusty paths. It was flavors, cooking techniques, and food traditions that would reshape the entire world. This golden spice, grown in Persian mountains, was worth more than gold. It turned simple rice into something magical. Roman cooks had never experienced anything like it. Hidden in his caravan are small clay pots filled with saffron, dried barberries, and secret spice blends. He has no idea that he is about to change the way people cook in dozens of countries. This fusion created what we now know as Indian curry. Today, biryani is considered one of India's most beloved foods, but its heart is completely Persian. The word curry itself comes from the Persian word korek, which means food or meal. When traders arrived in Thailand and Indonesia, they brought dried fruits and nuts that local cooks had never seen. When Persian techniques traveled through North Africa and into Spain, they met local ingredients like tomatoes and peppers. Spanish cooks learned Persian rice cooking methods and created paella. They adopted Persian spice blending techniques to create Spanish paprika mixes. Persian techniques for using these ingredients in savory dishes created the sweet and tangy flavors we find in Thai and Indonesian curries today. Today, when we say that food brings people together, we are echoing ancient Persian wisdom. Today, rosewater is used in everything from Turkish delight to French macarons. The technique of frying dough in special spirals came from Persian sweets called zolbia. Modern supply chains for spices follow many of the same routes that Persian traders established over 2,000 years ago, in ancient trading posts along the Silk Road. Researchers have found Persian cooking pots alongside Chinese woks and European bread ovens. The way spices are displayed, mixed, and sold follows patterns that Persian merchants established centuries ago. These ancient kitchens were the first fusion restaurants in history. These same combinations appear in Italian biscotti, Greek baklava, and French nougat. When Chinese traders brought new vegetables to Persia, Persian cooks found ways to include them in traditional dishes. It was their philosophy about food. Persians believed that cooking was a way to show love and respect. They thought that sharing a meal could turn strangers into friends. They understood that food could heal both body and spirit. When European merchants introduced new fruits, Persians created preserves and jams that are still made today. Spanish monks learned this technique from Persian traders and created the churros we know today. They carried knowledge. They knew how to preserve meat with special salt mixtures. They understood which herbs could make people feel better when they were sick. They had discovered spice combinations that could make simple ingredients taste like luxury. This is the story of the Silk Road, the ancient highway that connected East and West. Persian merchants were the masters of this trade network. They controlled the routes between China and Europe. And wherever they stopped to rest, eat, and trade, they left behind something precious. They developed techniques for drying fruits and vegetables that could last for months. They created special vinegars and pickles that kept food fresh during long journeys. These preservation methods allowed people in different climates to enjoy foods that normally would spoil quickly. Recipes, they showed them how just a pinch could transform an entire dish. This is how saffron became essential in what we now call Spanish paella, Italian risotto, and French bouillabaisse. Local cooks watched Persian merchants prepare their meals. They saw how Persians mixed sweet and sour flavors. They learned Persian techniques for cooking rice so each grain stayed separate and perfect. Imagine being a cook in ancient Rome and tasting saffron for the first time. The Persians taught Romans how to use this precious spice. But saffron was just the beginning. Persian traders carried something even more valuable than spices. When Persian caravans reached India, something amazing happened. Indian cooks took these Persian methods and combined them with their own local spices like turmeric and cardamom. The famous Indian dish biryani is pure Persian cooking. Persian merchants brought this layered rice dish to India in the 15th century. Persian influence reached even further east. The most amazing example is how Persian cooking reached Spain. Even the famous Spanish dessert churros has Persian roots. But the Silk Road was not a one-way street. Persian cooks also learned from other cultures. The most important thing Persians shared was not any single recipe. This Persian food philosophy spread along the trade routes. It influenced how people in different cultures thought about hospitality and family meals. Persian merchants also revolutionized food preservation. The Persian technique of making rosewater became essential in Middle Eastern and European cooking. Persian traders carried this fragrant liquid across continents. The combination of pistachios, almonds, and dried apricots that Persians perfected became standard in Mediterranean pastries. Persian nuts and dried fruits transformed baking around the world. The spice trade made some Persian merchants incredibly wealthy. But more importantly, it created a global network of flavor that still exists today. Archaeological evidence shows us exactly how this cultural exchange worked. Today, when we walk through any modern spice market, we are seeing the legacy of Persian traders. The next part of our journey takes us deeper into Persian cooking philosophy and techniques that became the foundation for cuisines across 3 continents.
Walk into any Persian home today, and you will witness something that has not changed for 3,000 years. The family gathers round a beautiful cloth spread on the floor called a dastarkan. This is not just a tablecloth. It is a sacred space where food becomes art, where meals become ceremonies, and where cooking becomes love. The dastarkan represents everything that makes Persian food culture special. Every dish has its perfect place. Colors are arranged like a painter's palette. Textures are balanced like a musician's symphony. The concept that food should please the eye as much as the mouth is pure Persian philosophy. They spent as much time making dishes beautiful as they did making them delicious. This idea was completely new to most of the world. This attention to beauty and harmony has influenced how people around the world think about presenting food. They describe the perfect rice dish as beautiful as a sunset. They compared the layers of a pastry to the layers of a poem. In ancient Persia, every meal included a plate of fresh herbs called sabzi kordon. Turkish poets began writing about coffee and sweets. French writers started describing meals in romantic detail. The idea that food could be artistic and poetic came from Persia. People would eat basil, mint, cilantro, and other herbs between bites of other food. Each bread had a specific purpose, time of day, and way of eating. Some breads were for celebration. Others were for everyday meals. Some were for traveling. Persians developed a method called tahdig that creates perfectly cooked rice with a golden, crispy bottom layer. Spanish paella uses Persian rice cooking principles. Italian risotto follows Persian stirring techniques. They develop techniques for cooking stews and roast slowly over low heat for many hours. The idea that time and patience create better flavors is now accepted by chefs worldwide. But it started in ancient Persian kitchens. This created incredibly tender, flavorful dishes that could not be made any other way. Asian fried rice dishes copy Persian methods for keeping grains separate and flavorful. This technique requires precise timing, temperature control, and years of practice to master. In Persian culture, offering food to visitors is sacred. The host must provide the best food possible, and guests must accept graciously. Persian cooks were using chemical reactions, precise temperatures, and controlled fermentation centuries before these became trendy in modern restaurants. Refusing food is considered insulting. When you see a beautifully plated dish in a fancy restaurant today, you are looking at ideas that started with the Persian dastarkan, the Persian method of baking. Thin, crispy bread influenced Indian naan, Turkish pied, and Italian focaccia. Persians made jams, pickles, and dried fruits that could last for years without spoiling. They turned simple vegetables into complex, flavorful preserves that added nutrition and taste to winter meals. Persian sweetbreads became the ancestor of French pastries and German Stollen. Many cultures now have special foods for New Year, weddings, and religious holidays. These traditions often trace back to Persian customs, the importance of sharing meals with strangers, the obligation to feed guests well, and the social rules around food sharing all have Persian origins. Persian wedding cookies, celebration rice dishes, and holiday sweets established patterns that other cultures adapted for their own festivals. Every meal must have something sweet, something sour, something crunchy, and something soft. There must be hot dishes and cold dishes. Fresh herbs must balance cooked vegetables. Russian pickles, Korean kimchi, and German sauerkraut all use Persian preservation principles. The Persian method of making fruit leather became popular from Morocco to Mongolia. This balance creates harmony that makes people feel satisfied and peaceful. Persians were among the first people to serve tea with small sweets and pastries. They created the ritual of taking time in the afternoon to relax with tea and conversation. Persian cooks understood something revolutionary. They knew that the way food looks affects how it tastes. It reached Russia and became the Russian tea ceremony. It influenced Chinese tea service and Japanese tea culture. The global ritual of pausing for tea and treats started in Persian gardens. Persian food follows ancient rules about balance. These Persian balancing principles spread everywhere Persian traders went. Chinese sweet and sour dishes follow Persian balance rules. Before Persian influence, most cultures only used dried herbs for seasoning. Italian meals with antipasti, pasta, and dessert copy Persian meal structure. Even modern nutritionists use Persian ideas about combining different types of foods for better health. The Persian love of fresh herbs changed cooking around the world. The Italian love of fresh basil, the Greek use of fresh dill, and the French obsession with fresh parsley all have Persian roots. Persian poets wrote about meals like other cultures wrote about war or love. This Persian herb tradition influenced Mediterranean cooking. Persian poetry and food were always connected. This connection between food and art spread to other cultures. Persian bread culture is another gift to the world. Persians developed over 50 different types of bread. Persian baking techniques created the foundation for bread making across 3 continents. The Persian tradition of preserving fruits and vegetables revolutionized food storage worldwide. Persian preservation techniques spread along trade routes and became essential in every climate. Persian tea culture gave birth to afternoon tea traditions around the world. This Persian tea tradition traveled to Britain and became English afternoon tea. Persian rice cooking is perhaps their greatest technical achievement. Persian rice methods spread across the world and adapted to local ingredients. The Persian concept of slow food influenced cooking everywhere. Persians believed that good food could not be rushed. Persian slow cooking methods became essential in French cuisine, Mexican cooking, and American barbecue. Persian hospitality rules shaped how people around the world think about welcoming guests. This Persian hospitality tradition influenced cultures across Europe, Asia, and the Middle East. Persian wedding and celebration foods created templates for special occasion. Cooking worldwide. The Persian tradition of eating specific foods for good luck, health, or celebration spread globally. Modern molecular gastronomy and scientific cooking methods are rediscovering Persian techniques. And later, we explore how these ancient Persian traditions continue to evolve and influence modern cooking around the world.
In a small restaurant in Los Angeles, a young chef named Nasim is changing how Americans think about Persian food. She is not serving traditional kebabs or rice dishes. Instead, she is creating Persian tacos, saffron ice cream, and pomegranate burgers. Her restaurant is always packed with customers discovering Persian flavors for the first time. Nasim represents a global revolution happening right now. Iranian chefs around the world are taking ancient Persian techniques and creating completely new dishes. Iranian immigrants in major cities began opening restaurants that mixed Persian flavors with local ingredients. They showed viewers how Persian spice combinations could transform simple grilled meat. Persian cooking techniques became trendy in high-end restaurants. In London, Persian chefs started using British vegetables in traditional Persian stews. The Persian custom of eating fresh herbs, cheese, and honey for breakfast has spread to health-conscious consumers everywhere. Persian-style yogurt with nuts and dried fruits has become a popular superfood breakfast. Traditional Persian dishes like herb stew, eggplant casserole, and lentil soup are naturally vegetarian and incredibly flavorful. Persian techniques for making vegetables taste rich and satisfying are perfect for modern dietary trends. The Persian tradition of taking time to enjoy tea with friends is spreading to busy modern cities. Sumac, the tangy Persian spice, became popular in trendy restaurants. They are recreating dishes that were served in Persian palaces centuries ago. Saffron farms are opening in new countries. Persian herbs like tarragon and dill are being grown in greenhouses everywhere. Dried Persian fruits and nuts are becoming common in regular supermarkets. These historical recipes are inspiring new menu items in restaurants from Paris to Tokyo. These ancient rosse methods are being taught alongside modern culinary techniques. Persian methods for drying fruits and vegetables are inspiring modern dehydration technologies. Persian fermentation techniques are being studied for their health benefits. Young Iranians living abroad are preserving their food culture by sharing recipes online. Persian-Japanese fusion creates unique combinations of Persian rice techniques with Japanese ingredients. Persian food connects Iranians living around the world to their heritage, while introducing non-Iranians to incredible new flavors. Home cooks are learning Persian techniques for making pickled vegetables that last months without refrigeration. Persian fermented drinks are inspiring new kombucha and probiotic beverage recipes. Persian techniques are being taught in top culinary schools worldwide. Persian catering companies are expanding to serve customers who want something different from typical party food. People who never tried Persian food can order traditional dishes online. This is introducing Persian flavors to new customers who might never visit a Persian restaurant. Persian ice cream with unusual flavors like saffron and rosewater is trendy in European gelato shops. Persian cookies and pastries are gaining fans everywhere. Pomegranate molasses, a Persian cooking staple, started appearing in modern cocktails and salad dressings. Persian mixed rice dishes, herb-filled appetizers, and fragrant stews are becoming popular choices for weddings and celebrations. The Persian tradition of abundant, beautiful food displays is inspiring event planners globally. Rosewater moved from Persian desserts to craft cocktails and artisan chocolates. In New York, they created Persian pizza with saffron sauce and dried fruits. They are proving that Persian cuisine is not stuck in the past. It is alive, growing, and influencing modern cooking in ways no one expected. This modern Persian food movement started about 20 years ago. Social media changed everything for Persian food. Persian-inspired combinations like pomegranate and walnut, or saffron and pistachio became signature flavors in fusion cuisine. Instagram and YouTube allowed Persian home cooks to share their recipes with millions of people. Suddenly, someone in Australia could learn to make Persian herb stew from a grandmother in Tehran. Persian food became global in a way that was never possible before. Food bloggers started discovering Persian ingredients in regular grocery stores. They demonstrated how Persian rice cooking methods could improve any rice dish. Celebrity chefs began exploring Persian techniques on cooking shows. Restaurants started offering dishes that combined unexpected flavors. The Persian concept of balancing sweet and sour flavors revolutionized modern cooking. Persian breakfast traditions are influencing morning meals worldwide. Modern Persian chefs are rediscovering forgotten recipes from ancient cookbooks. Persian vegetarian cooking is gaining popularity as more people choose plant-based diets. Persian pickling and fermentation methods are being adopted by modern food preservation movements. Persian love cake with cardamom and rosewater has become popular in American bakeries. The Persian tea ceremony is influencing modern coffee culture. Persian methods for serving hot drinks with small sweets and fruits are being copied by specialty coffee shops. Persian desserts are appearing in bakeries worldwide. Persian catering is changing how people think about party food. Modern farming techniques are making Persian ingredients more available worldwide. Persian cooking classes are popular in cooking schools worldwide. Students are learning traditional techniques like proper rice cooking, spice blending, and slow braising. Persian food trucks are becoming popular at food festivals. Food scientists are studying Persian preservation methods to develop new food storage techniques. Persian restaurants are opening in small towns, not just big cities. The internet has connected Persian cooks around the world. Persian grandmothers in Iran are teaching cooking techniques to Persian Americans who never learned traditional recipes. Persian fusion cuisine is creating entirely new food categories. Persian Mexican restaurants serve Persian spice tacos. Persian Italian places offer saffron pasta dishes. Modern Persian chefs are winning international cooking competitions. They are proving that Persian cuisine deserves recognition alongside French, Italian, and Chinese cooking. Persian meal delivery services are making Persian food available to busy modern families. The global success of Persian cuisine shows that food traditions can survive and grow, even when cultures are separated by distance and politics. Next, we discover how specific Persian dishes conquered different continents and became local favorites in countries thousands of miles from Iran.
In a small village in southern Spain, Maria is preparing paella for her family's Sunday dinner. She carefully layers saffron-scented rice in a wide, shallow pan. She has no idea that every technique she is using was perfected in Persian kitchens over 1,000 years ago. Her Spanish paella is actually a Persian rice dish that traveled across continents and became Spain's national treasure. This is the incredible story of how specific Persian dishes conquered the world by disguising themselves as local food. Persian recipes adapted so perfectly to new countries that people forgot where they originally came from. Persian polo, a method of cooking rice with a golden, crispy bottom layer, became the foundation for dozens of rice dishes worldwide. Uzbek, Kazakh, and Turkmen cooks learned Persian rice techniques and adapted them to local ingredients like lamb and dried fruits. The Persian technique of slowly cooking vegetables and beans with fresh herbs until they meld into a thick, satisfying soup is identical to traditional minestrone preparation. Italian grandmothers are using Persian cooking methods without knowing it. Each region created its own version, but all follow Persian cooking principles about balancing flavors and textures. Greek halva, Turkish halva, and Indian halwa all descend from Persian recipes. Each culture adapted the basic Persian technique to local tastes and ingredients, but the foundation remains Persian. French coq au vin, Hungarian goulash, and German sauerbraten all use Persian techniques for braising meat with fruits, vegetables, and wine. The Persian technique of mixing yogurt with herbs and spices to create refreshing drinks influenced beverage culture, from Morocco to Mongolia. Turkish shish kebab, Greek souvlaki, and American barbecue all use Persian techniques for marinating and grilling meat on skewers. The Persian method of combining yogurt, herbs, and spices for marinades became standard in grilled meat preparation worldwide. The Persian technique of balancing tart pomegranate with rich nuts influenced dishes from Georgian chicken, with walnuts, to Mexican mole with chocolate and nuts. The Persian method of cooking meat slowly until tender inspired comfort food dishes worldwide. The Persian technique of slapping bread dough against tender walls created the perfectly puffy charred flatbreads that are now inseparable from Indian meals. Persian torshi, vegetables pickled in vinegar with spices, became the model for pickled foods worldwide. They taught techniques for feeding large families with limited resources. Every culture that adopted Persian dishes also adopted Persian ideas about hospitality, celebration, and the importance of sharing meals. German sauerkraut, Korean kimchi, and Japanese pickles all use Persian principles of fermentation and preservation. Spanish eras, con leche, Italian rice pudding, and Indian kheer all use Persian techniques for slowly cooking rice with milk and sugar until creamy. The addition of saffron for color and flavor is pure Persian tradition. When Persian merchants brought this technique to Spain in the 8th century, Spanish cooks added local seafood and vegetables, French cassoulet, American baked beans, and British bubble and squeak all use Persian techniques for combining beans, meat, and vegetables in one satisfying dish. They called it paella, but the cooking method is pure Persian. Today, these dishes are considered the heart and soul of many national cuisines. The Persian tradition of adding rosewater, orange blossom, and cardamom to sweet treats influenced dessert making from Turkey to India to France. The technique of frying batter in special shapes and coating with sweet syrup traveled from Persia through North Africa to Spain. Today, churros are sold on Spanish streets, but their recipe is ancient Persian. Spanish paella masters still use the same Persian principles to create the perfect socarrat, the crispy bottom layer that paella lovers fight over. Let us start with the most famous example. Italian cucinati, Mexican polvorones, and Middle Eastern mahl all use Persian techniques for creating delicate pastry shells filled with sweet mixtures. The Persian method of wrapping sweet fillings in tender dough inspired bakers everywhere. The secret of Persian rice cooking is the tadig, the golden crust that forms at the bottom of the pot. This technique requires precise timing and temperature control. When Persian cooks arrived in India, they brought their love of complex, slow-cooked stews. Indian cooks adopted Persian techniques for layering spices and cooking meat until it falls apart. The word curry comes directly from the Persian word korak. Persian polo traveled east as well as west. In India, it became biryani, a layered rice dish with meat and spices. Indian cooks learned Persian techniques from Mughal rulers who brought Persian chefs to their courts. Today, biryani is considered one of India's most beloved dishes, but its heart is completely Persian. Persian korak, meaning any cooked dish, gave its name to Indian curry. In Central Asia, Persian polo became pilaf, or plov. Persian ash, a thick soup with herbs and legumes, traveled to Italy and became minestrone. Persian koresht, slow-cooked stews with meat and vegetables, influenced cooking across Europe. Persian sweets conquered the world by becoming local desserts. Persian zulbia, a spiraled fried pastry soaked in syrup, became Spanish churros. Persian halva, a sweet confection made from sesame or nuts, spread across 3 continents. Persian mamoul, stuffed cookies with nuts and dates, became the ancestor of filled pastries worldwide. Persian pickles and preserves changed how people stored and flavored food. Persian doogh, a yogurt drink with herbs and salt, spread across the Middle East and became ayran in Turkey, laban in Lebanon, and lassi in India. Persian kebab conquered the world by adapting to local meats and spices. Persian naan, flatbread baked against hot oven walls, spread across South Asia and became essential in Indian cuisine. Persian fezanjen, a stew made with pomegranate and walnuts, inspired the use of fruit in savory dishes worldwide. Persian shola zard, saffron rice pudding, became the ancestor of rice desserts globally. Persian abgusht, a slow-cooked bean and meat stew, influenced hearty winter dishes worldwide. They showed how to make simple ingredients taste extraordinary. They demonstrated how to preserve food for winter. Persian bastani, ice cream flavored with saffron and rosewater, pioneered the use of floral flavors in frozen desserts. These Persian dishes succeeded globally because they solved universal problems. Most importantly, these Persian recipes carried with them the Persian philosophy that food should bring joy and bring people together. Next, we explore how Persian ingredients and spices created the foundation for regional cuisines that seem completely unrelated to Iran.
In a small spice shop in Istanbul, an elderly man named Hassan carefully measures out bright red sumac powder for a customer. The tangy, lemony spice adds the perfect sour note to Turkish salads and grilled meats. Hassan learned about sumac from his grandfather, who learned from his grandfather before him. None of them know that this essential Turkish spice actually comes from ancient Persian mountains and has been shaping Middle Eastern cooking for over 2,000 years. In Spain, saffron became essential for paella and gave the dish its golden color. In France, saffron flavored bouillabaisse and other fish stews. In India, saffron colored and flavored biryani rice and sweet desserts. Persian rose gardens produced the finest roses, and Persian chemists perfected the distillation process that captured the flower's essence. Turkish delight relies on rose water for its distinctive flavor. French macarons often use rose water in delicate fillings. Indian sweets like gulab jamun get their name and flavor from Persian rose water. Even Mexican wedding cookies sometimes include rose water, a tradition that arrived through Spanish influence. Today, saffron is associated with many different countries, but its original home was always Persia. Persian farmers developed techniques for growing, harvesting, and processing pistachios that produce the sweetest, most flavorful nuts. Persian cooks discovered that dried barberries added a bright, sour flavor that complemented rice and meat dishes perfectly. The combination of sweet saffron rice with tart barberries became a signature of Persian cuisine. Persian cooks discovered hundreds of ways to use pistachios in both sweet and savory dishes. Today, barberries are essential in Georgian, Armenian, and Central Asian cooking. The Persian technique of using fresh dill with fish and in pickles spread through trade routes to Scandinavia and Eastern Europe. Today, dill is considered essential in Polish, Russian, and Scandinavian cuisines, but its culinary use began in Persian kitchens. The Persian custom of serving fresh herbs with every meal introduced new flavors to cultures that had never eaten raw herbs before. Persian herb vinegars influenced pickle making across Europe and Asia. Persian methods for cultivating almonds, walnuts, and hazelnuts were adopted by farmers across the Mediterranean. Persian agricultural techniques for growing fruits in desert climates were adopted by farmers in similar environments worldwide. Persian techniques for using nuts in both sweet and savory dishes influenced baking and cooking globally. Persian mint tea traditions influenced tea culture from Morocco to Mongolia. The global spice trade that makes international cooking possible began with Persian entrepreneurs who recognized that flavor was worth traveling across continents to share. French chefs learned about tarragon from Persian influences that came through trade and cultural exchange. Persian merchants established trading posts and relationships that continued for centuries. Modern spice importers still follow trade routes that Persian merchants established over 1,000 years ago. Today, tarragon is so associated with French cuisine that most people assume it is naturally French. The Persian technique of soaking dried barberries and mixing them with rice appears in dishes from Turkey to Afghanistan. This is the hidden story of Persian ingredients. While everyone focuses on Persian recipes and cooking techniques, the real revolution happened ingredient by ingredient. The Persian technique of using pomegranate seeds in rice dishes spread to Central Asia and India. Persian techniques for using whole cardamom pods to flavor rice and meat dishes influenced cooking across the continents. The combination of pistachios with rice, found in Persian polo, appears in Spanish paella and Italian risotto. Persian farmers developed dozens of varieties with different flavors, colors, and uses. Persian cooks learned to use every part of the pomegranate. Fresh seeds added sweetness and crunch. Pomegranate juice became a base for drinks and sauces. Dried pomegranate seeds provided year-round flavor. Pomegranate molasses concentrated the fruit's sweet tart taste into a thick syrup. The use of ground pistachios in pastries, perfected in Persian sweets, influenced French and Italian baking. Persian spices, herbs, and other food items traveled the world and became so essential to local cuisines that people forgot they were originally Persian. Saffron is the most famous example. This golden spice, worth more than gold, grows naturally in Persian mountains. Ancient Persian farmers developed the techniques for harvesting and drying saffron that are still used today. Each saffron flower produces only 3 tiny threads, and it takes thousands of flowers to make just 1 ounce of spice. Persian saffron merchants carried this precious spice along every trade route. Today, sumac is considered essential in Turkish cooking, Lebanese cuisine, and Syrian dishes. The famous Middle Eastern spice blend za'atar relies on sumac for its characteristic tangy flavor. Most people think sumac is naturally Middle Eastern, but it started in Persian kitchens. Sumac, the tart red spice that Hassan sells in Istanbul, tells a similar story. Wild sumac bushes grow throughout Persian mountains. Ancient Persian cooks discovered that dried, ground sumac berries added a bright, sour flavor that could replace expensive lemons or vinegar. Sumac became essential in Persian cooking for its ability to brighten heavy, rich dishes. Persian traders carried sumac throughout the Middle East and Mediterranean. Rose water represents another Persian gift to world cuisine. Persians were the first people to distill rose petals into fragrant water that could flavor food and drinks. Persian rose water spread across 3 continents and became essential in regional cuisines that seemed completely unrelated to Iran. Pistachios grew wild in Persian forests long before they were cultivated anywhere else. Persian pistachio cultivation spread to Sicily, California, and Turkey. But Persian techniques for using pistachios in cooking influenced cuisines worldwide. Pomegranates have been cultivated in Persia for over 4,000 years. Persian pomegranate products influenced cooking across the ancient world. Pomegranate molasses became essential in Lebanese and Syrian cooking. Pomegranate juice influenced winemaking in Georgia and Armenia. Barberries, small tart red berries that grow wild in Persian mountains, became one of Persia's most distinctive ingredients. Persian barberry cultivation and drying techniques spread to other mountainous regions. Persian herbs revolutionized cooking worldwide. Persians were among the first people to use fresh herbs as vegetables rather than just seasonings. Tarragon, now essential in French cooking, originated in Persian gardens. Persian dill cultivation and use influenced Northern European cooking. Persian mint varieties and cultivation techniques spread worldwide. Persians developed methods for growing mint in hot, dry climates and for preserving mint's flavor in dried form. Cardamom, the expensive spice that Persians called the Queen of Spices, spread from Persian gardens and become essential in Scandinavian and Indian cooking. Persian vinegar making influenced preservation techniques worldwide. Persians developed methods for making vinegar from various fruits and grains. Persian fruit vinegars became popular in Mediterranean cooking. Persian techniques for growing and processing nuts influenced agriculture worldwide. Persian cultivation of melons, grapes, and other fruits introduced new varieties to regions that had never grown these crops. The Persian spice trade created the first global supply chains. Today, when you buy saffron, sumac, or rose water in any store worldwide, you are buying products that Persian farmers and merchants made available to the world. Next, we discover how Persian cooking philosophy and food culture shaped the way people around the world think about family, hospitality, and celebration.
Maria's Italian grandmother always said that turning away a hungry stranger brings bad luck to the family. She insisted on cooking extra food for every meal, just in case someone unexpected arrived. These ideas traveled along the same trade routes as Persian spices and recipes, but they had an even deeper impact on human society. Her kitchen table was always set with more plates than needed. In Turkey, the concept of misafirberverlik, treating guests with extreme generosity, comes directly from Persian traditions. In India, the Sanskrit concept of atithi devo bhava, treating guests like gods, was strengthened by centuries of Persian influence through Mughal rulers. Maria thought this was just her grandmother's quirky Italian tradition. Persians were among the first to create the tradition of offering tea with sweets to every visitor, regardless of the time of day or purpose of the visit. Russian tea service, British afternoon tea, and Moroccan mint tea ceremonies all follow Persian principles about using tea to create social bonds. The global tradition of pausing daily activities to share hot drinks with others began in Persian gardens. This simple act of sharing tea became a way to show respect, create friendship, and solve conflicts peacefully. She had no idea she was following ancient Persian rules about hospitality that are over 3,000 years old. Many European cultures originally ate individually or in small groups. The Persian custom of serving 7 special foods beginning with the letter S became a model for symbolic holiday meals. Many cultures now have traditional foods that must be eaten on specific holidays for good luck, health, or prosperity. Persians developed specific dishes for different types of celebrations. Wedding foods were different from New Year foods. Funeral foods followed different rules than birthday foods. Persians developed detailed knowledge about which foods help with sadness, anxiety, celebration, and recovery from illness. Persians pioneered the concept that sharing meals builds trust and helps negotiate better business deals. Persian merchants always sealed important agreements with elaborate shared meals. Persians developed elaborate customs about what foods to give as gifts for different occasions, how to present food gifts beautifully, and what foods express different emotions or relationships. These Persian food gift traditions influenced holiday customs and social etiquette across cultures. Persian customs about first foods for babies, special dishes for growing children, and food rewards for achievements spread through cultural exchange and became part of child-rearing practices in many societies. This tradition spread along trade routes and became essential to business culture in many societies. Persian culture taught that the effort put into cooking directly expresses care and affection. This idea that homemade food carries emotional value became fundamental to family relationships across cultures. The Persian custom of serving specific symbolic foods at weddings, feeding the bride and groom special dishes, and including both families in elaborate meal preparation became models for wedding celebrations in many cultures. This Persian food medicine influenced traditional healing practices across cultures. Persian customs about sharing food with neighbors during famines, economic hardship, or natural disasters created models for community mutual aid that spread globally. Persians established the custom of families and neighbors working together to prepare large quantities of special foods for religious holidays and community celebrations. Sharing meals builds stronger relationships, reduces conflict, and creates more stable communities. Persian food philosophy anticipated modern scientific understanding about the social importance of eating together. This tradition of shared cooking efforts strengthened community bonds and preserved traditional recipes. Persian culture taught that food should please the eye as much as the mouth. Persian rules about color coordination, artistic arrangement, and elegant serving influenced table setting and food presentation standards globally. Each type of celebration had its own menu, preparation rituals, and serving customs. Persian culture developed specific rules about what foods to bring to grieving families, how long to provide meals, and what types of dishes offer the most comfort. These traditions spread and became fundamental to community support systems worldwide. Persian influence through trade and cultural exchange helped establish the tradition of regular family dinner time that is now considered essential for healthy family relationships. The idea that special occasions require special foods, prepared in special ways, is now universal. But this concept was systematized and spread by Persian culture. The Persian philosophy about food and hospitality has quietly shaped how cultures around the world think about family meals, welcoming guests, and celebrating important moments. Persians developed the tradition of eating the main meal together as a family, with specific rules about seating, serving, and conversation. This daily family meal became a time for sharing news, solving problems, and maintaining relationships. In ancient Persia, feeding guests was not just polite behavior, it was a sacred duty. Persian culture taught that refusing food to any visitor, even an enemy, was one of the worst sins possible. Persian households always kept extra food prepared, and the best food was always offered to guests first, even if the family had to go hungry. This Persian hospitality philosophy spread everywhere Persian culture had influence. Persian culture taught that the quality of food you serve reflects your character and your respect for others. Poor families would spend their last money to buy good food for guests. Rich families competed to serve the most elaborate and delicious meals. This idea that hospitality requires sacrifice spread across cultures and became fundamental to societies from Spain to Central. The Persian concept of abundance at meals influenced how people worldwide think about family dinners and celebrations. Persians believed that a table should always have more food than people could eat. Empty dishes brought shame to the host. This philosophy of generous abundance became central to hospitality cultures across the Middle East, Central Asia, and parts of Europe. Persian tea culture revolutionized how people socialize around the world. Persian tea traditions spread along trade routes and became essential social customs in dozens of countries. Persian food philosophy taught that meals should bring families together every day. This Persian emphasis on daily family meals influenced cultures that had very different eating traditions. Persian celebration foods created templates for special occasion cooking that influenced festivals and holidays worldwide. These Persian celebration food traditions spread through cultural exchange and became fundamental to how other societies mark important events. Persian New Year traditions, celebrating Nowruz with specific symbolic foods, influenced spring celebrations across cultures. The Persian tradition of communal cooking for celebrations influenced how communities around the world prepare for festivals. Persian morning food traditions influenced how cultures around the world provide comfort through food during difficult times. The Persian concept that certain foods have emotional and spiritual power influenced global beliefs about comfort food and healing through eating. Persian business meal traditions created the foundation for using food in professional relationships worldwide. The Persian emphasis on beautiful food presentation influenced how cultures worldwide think about the visual aspects of meals. Persian gift-giving through food established traditions that continue worldwide. Persian wedding food traditions influenced marriage celebrations worldwide. Persian children's food traditions influenced how cultures worldwide think about feeding and nurturing young people. The Persian philosophy that cooking is an act of love influenced how people worldwide understand the emotional meaning of preparing food for others. Persian food sharing traditions during times of scarcity influenced how communities worldwide support each other during difficult periods. Modern psychology and sociology research confirms what Persian culture taught thousands of years ago. They are following Persian wisdom about the power of food to create human connection and community strength. Today, when families around the world gather for dinner, welcome guests with special foods, or use meals to celebrate important moments. Next, we explore how modern Iranian immigrants and chefs are carrying these ancient traditions into contemporary global cuisine.
In the heart of London, 28-year-old Yasmin Khalili is changing how British people think about Persian food. Her restaurant does not serve traditional kebabs or rice dishes. Instead, she creates Persian fish and chips with saffron batter, Iranian shepherd's pie with lamb and dried fruits, and Persian Sunday roast with pomegranate glaze. Her customers line up for hours to taste these familiar British dishes made with Persian soul. Yasmin represents a global movement of Iranian immigrants who are revolutionizing cuisine by mixing ancient Persian wisdom with modern creativity. These chefs, home cooks, and food entrepreneurs are proving that Persian food culture is not frozen in time. Iranian grandmothers living in diaspora communities began sharing traditional recipes on YouTube and Instagram. They found that sumac added amazing flavor to roasted vegetables. They learned Persian slow cooking methods that made meat incredibly tender. They adopted Persian spice combinations that created complex, balanced flavors. They used Persian presentation techniques that made dishes more beautiful. Persian cooking methods became part of high-end restaurant training. They learned that pomegranate molasses transformed simple salad dressings. They discovered that saffron made even basic rice dishes taste luxurious. These festivals introduced non-Iranian people to authentic Persian dishes while celebrating Iranian culture. They understand both traditional Persian techniques and modern cooking methods. Iranian immigrants showed other communities how to preserve cultural food traditions while adapting to new countries. Non-Iranian neighbors discovered Persian ingredients and began incorporating them into their own cooking. Persian grocery stores became bridges between Iranian immigrants and their broader communities. Iranian chefs demonstrated traditional techniques while explaining the cultural significance of different dishes. This success is changing perceptions about Persian food from exotic ethnic cuisine to sophisticated international dining. People who never tried Persian food can order traditional dishes online and discover new flavors from the comfort of their homes. Persian spice blends, Persian rice mixes, and Persian sauces are appearing on regular grocery store shelves. They are developing Persian-Italian fusion, Persian-French combinations, and Persian-Japanese innovations that create entirely new categories of cuisine. These products make it easy for anyone to add Persian flavors to their home cooking. This accessibility is introducing Persian cuisine to customers who might never visit a Persian restaurant. Persian chefs are proving that their cuisine deserves recognition alongside French, Italian, and Japanese food traditions. Persian food culture proves that immigration can strengthen rather than weaken cultural heritage when communities find creative ways to share their traditions. Persian food has moved from being an exotic curiosity to being an established part of global cuisine. The ancient Persian gift of hospitality through food continues to build bridges between cultures and create understanding between different communities. These shows help dispel stereotypes about Middle Eastern food while showcasing the sophistication of Persian cuisine. Persian examples of successful food adaptation inspired Chinese, Mexican, and African immigrant communities to find similar solutions for their own cuisines. Their restaurants serve dishes like Persian risotto with barberries, saffron siami bialy, and pomegranate glazed duck that appeal to adventurous diners while honoring Persian traditions. Iranian immigrants began teaching traditional techniques to curious neighbors and food enthusiasts. These classes preserved Persian food knowledge while creating cultural exchange and understanding between different communities. Food festivals became safe spaces where Iranian immigrants could share their heritage while building bridges with their new communities. These publications made authentic Persian recipes accessible to people who could not read Persian. They also helped second and third generation Iranian immigrants reconnect with their family food traditions. Persian ingredients moved from ethnic grocery stores to mainstream cooking. Suddenly, a Persian grandmother in Vancouver could teach someone in Germany how to make perfect hearty rice. They are reading historical cookbooks and recreating dishes that were served in Persian palaces centuries ago. These historical recipes are inspiring new menu items in restaurants and introducing people to the sophisticated side of Persian cuisine that goes far beyond simple grilled meats. Persian cooking knowledge that was once passed down only within families became available to anyone with internet access. Persian food trucks bring Iranian street food to office districts and universities. Persian catering companies serve Persian dishes at weddings and corporate events, introducing Persian flavors to people who never visit Iranian restaurants. It continues to grow, adapt, and influence the way people cook and eat around the world. The Iranian diaspora began spreading Persian food culture globally in the 1970s. In Toronto, they developed Persian pizza with saffron sauce and dried fruits. In Sydney, they invented Persian meat pies using traditional Persian lamb stews inside Australian pastry shells. Each adaptation kept Persian flavors while becoming familiar to local customers. Political changes forced millions of Iranians to leave their homeland and settle in countries around the world. They carried with them not just recipes, but thousands of years of food knowledge, cooking techniques, and cultural traditions about hospitality and family meals. These Iranian immigrants faced a difficult challenge. They wanted to preserve their food heritage for their children, but they also needed to adapt to new countries with different ingredients and different tastes. The solution they found was brilliant. They kept Persian cooking principles while adapting to local ingredients and local preferences. In Los Angeles, Iranian immigrants created Persian tacos by putting traditional Persian stews inside Mexican tortillas. Social media revolutionized how Persian food spreads around the world. Food bloggers discovered Persian ingredients in regular supermarkets and began experimenting. Celebrity chefs around the world began incorporating Persian techniques into their restaurants. Iranian food festivals began appearing in major cities worldwide. Persian cooking classes became popular in community centers and cooking schools. Modern Iranian chefs are rediscovering ancient Persian recipes that were almost forgotten. Iranian restaurants are evolving beyond traditional formats. Persian fast casual restaurants serve healthy Persian bowls with rice, grilled meats, and fresh herbs. Young Iranian chefs trained in international culinary schools are creating sophisticated Persian fusion cuisine. Persian home cooking is influencing how immigrant families from other cultures adapt their own traditional foods. Persian grocery stores in diaspora communities became cultural centers that spread Persian food beyond Iranian families. Iranian food magazines and cookbooks began publishing in English, French, Spanish, and other languages. Persian cooking shows on international television introduced Persian cuisine to mainstream audiences. Modern Persian restaurants are winning international culinary awards and gaining recognition from food critics. Persian food delivery services are making authentic Persian meals available to busy modern families. Iranian food entrepreneurs are creating Persian products for mainstream supermarkets. Persian food continues to evolve as young Iranian immigrants create new traditions that blend their Persian heritage with their new home cultures. The success of Persian food in the global marketplace shows that culinary traditions can survive and thrive even when people are separated from their homeland. Today, Persian restaurants, ingredients, and cooking techniques can be found in almost every major city worldwide. Persian cuisine today represents the best of both tradition and innovation, proving that ancient wisdom can adapt to modern life while maintaining its essential character and values.
In a research laboratory at Harvard Medical School, Dr. Sarah Chen is studying something unexpected. She is not researching new medicines or high-tech treatments. Instead, she is analyzing ancient Persian recipes to understand why Persian food seems to keep people healthy and help them live longer lives. They are finding that Persian cooking methods, spice combinations, and meal structures follow principles that modern nutritionists are just beginning to understand. Persian cooks were practicing medicine through food long before anyone knew why their methods worked. Hot foods like meat and spices were balanced with cold foods like yogurt and cucumbers. Dry foods like nuts were balanced with moist foods like fruits. This Persian balancing system ensured that every meal contained a variety of nutrients that supported good health. Persian cooks knew that turmeric reduced pain and inflammation. They combined turmeric with black pepper because they somehow knew that pepper helps the body absorb turmeric better. Modern science confirmed this Persian knowledge only recently. Her research is revealing that Persian cooks discovered scientific principles about nutrition and health centuries before modern medicine understood them. Persian families consumed more fresh herbs per person than any other culture. Persians ate their largest meal in the middle of the day when metabolism is highest. They consumed lighter foods in the evening when the body prepares for rest. Persian cooks served warming foods in winter and cooling foods in summer. Persian meals included small amounts of many different foods rather than large portions of few foods. Persian families prepared different foods for pregnant women, growing children, elderly people, and sick family members. Each group received food specifically chosen to support their particular health needs. This Persian approach provided variety while naturally limiting calories and encouraging mindful eating. They used available seasonal ingredients that provided nutrients needed for each time of year. Persian sweets combine nuts, seeds, hay, and natural sweeteners in proportions that modern sports nutritionists recommend for optimal energy. Persian families prepared specific foods for people recovering from different diseases. They are finding that Persian approaches to feeding sick people accelerate recovery and improve outcomes. Persian food traditions appear to provide protection against modern lifestyle diseases. Persian food medicine is being integrated into modern healthcare as complementary therapy. Persian culture taught that healthy food should be delicious and that meals should be enjoyable. This Persian approach created positive relationships with food that supported long-term health without deprivation or restriction. These Persian healing foods provided exactly the nutrients needed for repair and recovery, often working better than modern medical diets. Persian desserts were actually sophisticated energy foods disguised as treats. This Persian seasonal approach kept bodies in harmony with natural cycles. This Persian eating schedule optimized digestion and energy levels throughout the day. Modern research shows that this Persian herb consumption provided powerful protection against cancer, heart disease, and aging. Persian food wisdom anticipated modern understanding about how nutrition affects brain function, emotional stability, and cognitive performance. Persian pickles, fermented drinks, and cultured dairy products contained beneficial bacteria that supported digestive health. Persian cuisine proves that healthy eating can be delicious, satisfying, and socially connected. Modern research confirms that saffron contains compounds that function like antidepressants and memory enhancers. Persian cooks were treating mental health through food centuries before psychiatry existed. Persian families ate fermented foods with every meal, maintaining healthy gut bacteria that modern people are trying to restore with expensive supplements. Dr. Chen represents a growing movement of scientists who are discovering that traditional Persian food contains remarkable health benefits. Persian families drank specific teas for different times of day and different health conditions. Persian tea ceremonies created social connections that modern research shows are essential for mental health and longevity. Persian techniques for steaming rice, slow cooking stews, and gentle braising maintain vitamins and minerals that other cooking methods destroyed. Persian techniques for drying fruits, making preserves, and storing grains kept foods nutritious for months without refrigeration. These Persian preservation methods created year-round access to essential nutrients. They served iron-rich foods with vitamin C sources to improve iron absorption. They combined healthy fats with vegetables to increase vitamin absorption. These Persian food pairings maximize the nutritional value of every meal. Persian cooks somehow knew how to cook food thoroughly while keeping it nutritious. Persian cuisine has always been based on the concept of balance. Ancient Persian cooks believed that every food had hot or cold properties that affected the body. They created meals that balanced these properties to keep people healthy. Foods that Persians called hot do tend to increase metabolism and circulation. Foods they called cold do tend to have cooling, anti-inflammatory effects. Persian cooks somehow understood the biochemical properties of foods without having modern scientific instruments. Modern science is discovering that this Persian food balancing system actually works to maintain proper nutrition and prevent disease. Persian cooks classified foods into 4 categories based on their effects on the body. Modern nutritionists are amazed by how accurate Persian food classifications were. Persian use of herbs and spices was actually advanced medicine disguised as cooking. Persian cooks knew that certain herb combinations could help digestion, reduce inflammation, and boost immunity. They used food as medicine in ways that modern pharmaceutical companies are still trying to understand and replicate. Turmeric, now famous for its health benefits, was used medicinally in Persian cooking for thousands of years. Persian fermented foods were advanced probiotics before anyone understood gut health. Persian cooking methods preserved nutrients better than most other cuisines. The Persian emphasis on eating fresh herbs with every meal provided antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals that protected against disease. Persian meal timing and structure followed principles that modern chronobiology is just discovering. Persian food combinations were scientifically sophisticated. Persian cooks paired foods in ways that enhanced nutrient absorption. Persian seasonal eating followed natural rhythms that supported health throughout the year. Persian portion control and meal structure prevented overeating while ensuring satisfaction. Persian cooking for different life stages showed sophisticated understanding of changing nutritional needs. Persian cooks knew that saffron improved mood, memory, and mental clarity. Persian use of saffron was actually advanced neuroscience. Persian honey and nut combinations provided sustained energy without blood sugar spikes. Persian tea culture provided powerful antioxidants and social health benefits. Persian food preservation methods maintain nutritional value while preventing spoilage. Persian cooking for illness recovery showed advanced understanding of healing nutrition. Modern hospitals and rehabilitation centers are studying Persian healing food traditions. Persian longevity in traditional communities amazes modern researchers. In regions where people still follow traditional Persian eating patterns, rates of heart disease, diabetes, and cancer remain remarkably low. Persian food philosophy about eating for pleasure and health created sustainable, healthy eating patterns. The Persian understanding that food affects mood, energy, and mental clarity influenced how cultures worldwide think about the connection between diet and well-being. Today, as people worldwide struggle with diet-related diseases and seek healthier eating patterns, Persian food traditions offer time-tested solutions that are both scientifically sound and culturally sustainable. Next, we explore how Persian agricultural innovations and farming techniques revolutionized food production and influenced agricultural practices across continents.
In the desert valleys of ancient Persia, 5,000 years ago, farmers faced an impossible challenge. They lived in one of the driest regions on Earth, but they needed to grow enough food to feed growing cities and vast armies. This Persian irrigation technology was more advanced than anything the world had seen. Roman aqueducts carried water above ground where it could evaporate. Persian cannots moved water underground where every drop was preserved. Their solution was so brilliant that it changed agriculture forever and is still used by farmers around the world today. These Persian farmers invented the cannot system, underground channels that carried water from mountain sources to distant fields. They created detailed classifications of different soil types and knew exactly which amendments each soil needed. Persian texts describe specific mixtures of animal manure, plant matter, and minerals that could transform poor soil into productive farmland. Persian cannot engineering required incredible skill and knowledge. Persian workers dug tunnels dozens of miles long through solid rock, maintaining precise gradients to keep water flowing. Persian farmers developed methods for creating rich compost from kitchen scraps, animal waste, and crop residues. Persian wheat was more resistant to disease, produced higher yields, and grew well in difficult climates. Modern wheat varieties grown around the world contain genetic material from ancient Persian wheat strains. Persian farmers developed grafting techniques that allowed them to grow multiple varieties on single trees. They created irrigation systems specifically designed for fruit trees. They developed pruning methods that maximized fruit production while keeping trees healthy. They created intercropping methods that maximized production from limited space. They developed succession planting techniques that provided continuous harvests throughout growing seasons. They understood the biochemistry of decomposition and knew how to control temperature, moisture, and airflow to create the best soil amendments. Persian farmers developed detailed agricultural calendars that specified the best times for planting, cultivating, and harvesting different crops. They understood bee behavior and created management practices that maximized production. Persian farmers developed feeding programs that kept animals healthy while maximizing production. They created breeding programs that produced animals better adapted to local conditions. They developed veterinary techniques for treating animal diseases. Persian honey varieties and beekeeping methods spread along trade routes and influenced beekeeping practices across 3 continents. These Persian calendars took into account moon phases, weather patterns, and seasonal changes that affected crop success. Persian farmers developed specialized plows, harvesting tools, and processing equipment that made farming more efficient and productive. Persian farmers developed methods for capturing and storing rainwater. They created systems for recycling irrigation water. They developed drought-resistant farming techniques that maintained production during dry years. These Persian tools spread along trade routes and influenced agricultural technology development worldwide. Persian methods for maintaining soil health, conserving water, and creating diverse ecosystems offer solutions to current agricultural challenges. Persian techniques for drying fruits created preserved foods that could last for years without spoiling. Their techniques sustained productive agriculture for thousands of years while maintaining environmental health, offering lessons for modern agriculture facing climate change and resource limitations. Persian farmers built granaries that kept grain dry and pest-free for years. They developed methods for storing different types of crops that maintained nutritional value and prevented losses that plagued other agricultural systems. They maintained seed banks that preserved multiple varieties of each crop. They grew diverse crops that created resilient agricultural systems. Persian agricultural texts were translated into multiple languages and studied by farmers across the known world. This Persian approach to biodiversity protected against crop failures that devastated regions with less diverse agriculture. These Persian preservation methods made fruit available year-round in regions with harsh winters. Persian farmers grew over 200 different herbs for culinary and medicinal purposes. They developed greenhouse techniques for growing herbs year-round. They created specialized tools for harvesting and processing herbs to maintain maximum potency. They created ventilation shafts every few hundred yards to provide air and remove excavated soil. Persian farmers developed methods for growing saffron, cardamom, and other expensive spices outside their native habitats. These Persian cultivation techniques made luxury spices more widely available and affordable. Mediterranean farmers learned Persian techniques for building soil fertility. Chinese farmers adopted Persian composting methods. Persian farmers developed methods for growing rice in areas with limited water by creating terraced fields and sophisticated water management systems. These Persian techniques allowed rice cultivation to spread to new regions across Asia and Europe. European farmers eventually learned Persian soil management through contact with Persian-influenced regions. This Persian technology required mathematical precision that impressed even modern engineers. They carefully selected seeds from the best plants each year and developed improved varieties through systematic crossbreeding. Persian agricultural texts describe detailed breeding programs that created better crops over multiple generations. The Khanate system spread from Persia across 3 continents. Persian engineers taught this technology to farmers in Spain, North Africa, Central Asia, and China. Today, Canette systems still provide water to millions of people in over 40 countries. Persian farmers divided their land into 3 sections, planting different crops in each section and leaving one section fallow each year. This Persian rotation system maintained soil nutrients and prevented crop diseases that destroyed harvests in other regions. The Spanish acequia irrigation systems, Chinese Carez networks, and North African Foggara channels all descend from Persian Canette technology. Persian farmers revolutionized crop rotation centuries before European agriculture discovered these techniques. Persian agricultural texts from 2,000 years ago describe complex rotation systems that maintained soil fertility while maximizing production. Persian farmers knew exactly which crops to plant in sequence to keep soil healthy and productive. The Persian three-field system influenced European agriculture through trade and cultural exchange. Persian farmers developed the first systematic approach to soil improvement. Persian composting techniques were centuries ahead of other agricultural systems. These Persian soil improvement methods spread along trade routes and revolutionized agriculture in regions with poor soil. Persian farmers were the first to practice scientific plant breeding. Persian wheat varieties developed through this breeding program spread across the ancient world. Persian rice cultivation techniques revolutionized agriculture in regions that had never grown rice before. Persian fruit tree cultivation created the foundation for orchards worldwide. Persian apple, pear, and cherry varieties developed in ancient Persian orchards spread across Europe and became the ancestors of modern fruit varieties. Persian farmers developed companion planting systems that used certain plants to protect others from pests and diseases. Persian vegetable cultivation techniques influenced gardening practices worldwide. Persian herb cultivation was the most sophisticated in the ancient world. Persian spice cultivation techniques allowed valuable spices to be grown in new regions. Persian agricultural timing systems influenced farming calendars worldwide. Persian beekeeping techniques revolutionized honey production. Persian farmers developed sophisticated beehives that produced more honey while keeping bees healthier. Persian livestock management techniques improved animal agriculture worldwide. Persian crop storage techniques prevented spoilage and maintained quality during long-term storage. Persian agricultural tools were more advanced than tools used in other regions. Persian farmers understood the importance of biodiversity centuries before modern ecology. Persian agricultural education systems trained farmers in scientific methods. Persian agricultural schools taught advanced techniques to students who carried this knowledge to other regions. Persian water conservation techniques allowed agriculture in extremely dry regions. Modern sustainable agriculture movements are rediscovering Persian farming techniques that work with natural systems rather than against them. Persian agricultural innovations prove that ancient farmers were capable of sophisticated scientific thinking and technological development. Tomorrow we discover how Persian trade networks created the first global food economy and established commercial practices that still influence international food trade today.
In the bustling port city of Hormuz in the year 1200, a Persian merchant named Ahmed ibn Rashid is conducting business that will change how the world trades food forever. He's not just buying and selling spices, he's creating the first international food supply chain, establishing credit systems, and setting quality standards that will influence global commerce for centuries to come. They needed standardized weights and measures so buyers knew exactly what they were purchasing. They needed quality grades so expensive spices met consistent standards. They needed credit systems so transactions could happen across vast distances and long time periods. Ahmed represents thousands of Persian merchants who created the world's first global food economy. The Persian method of classifying saffron by color, aroma, and thread length is still used by spice traders today. They created letters of credit that allowed merchants to purchase goods in one country and pay for them in another country months later. Modern international banking still uses principles that Persian merchants developed over 1,000 years ago. Persian banking houses in major trading cities provided the financial infrastructure that supported global commerce. Persian nut grading systems influence quality standards for almonds, pistachios, and walnuts in modern international markets. These Persian traders did not just move goods from place to place. Persian merchant houses placed trusted agents in major trading cities across 3 continents. They created networks for sharing information about crop conditions, price changes, and political situations that could affect trade. They could anticipate price changes, avoid dangerous routes, and take advantage of supply shortages in distant markets. This Persian emphasis on market intelligence became fundamental to successful international business. Persian merchants knew about supply problems or political changes months before their competitors. They coordinated production in multiple regions, transportation across different routes, storage in various cities, and distribution to final markets. The Persian system of coordinating production, transportation, and distribution across multiple countries established patterns that modern corporations still follow. Persian merchants were the first global logistics managers. Modern franchise systems follow patterns that Persian merchants established. They established reputation systems that made certain Persian trading houses famous for quality and reliability. Persian brand names became symbols of excellence that commanded premium prices in markets worldwide. Persian merchants managed supply chains that spanned continents and involved hundreds of people. Modern commercial insurance systems use principles that Persian merchants developed. They developed methods for packing spices, nuts, and dried fruits that would protect quality during long journeys. They created risk-sharing arrangements that protected merchants against losses from storms, piracy, and political problems. It needed sophisticated financial, legal, and organizational systems that could coordinate complex activities across vast distances and different cultures, and coordinate production across multiple countries. They are using business methods that Persian merchants pioneered over 1,000 years ago. Persian merchants created the institutional foundation that made global commerce possible. Persian insurance systems made long-distance trade less risky and more profitable. The concept that business reputation could create value beyond the actual products sold became fundamental to international commerce. Persian merchants were the first to understand that brand trust could be more valuable than physical assets. Persian packaging techniques kept food fresh and prevented contamination during months of travel. Global price relationships for spices, nuts, and specialty foods still reflect trading networks that Persian merchants created centuries ago. Persian networks connected food production in Asia with consumption in Europe and Africa. They created the first international markets where supply and demand in one region affected prices in distant regions. These agents could conduct business, verify quality, and arrange shipments on behalf of merchants thousands of miles away. Many modern weight and volume measurements for food products trace back to Persian trading standards. Modern multinational corporations use distribution systems that follow patterns established by Persian merchant houses. Modern food packaging still uses principles that Persian merchants developed. They developed standardized contracts that specified exactly what goods would be delivered, when they would arrive, what quality standards they would meet, and what would happen if problems occurred. The concept of having trusted representatives in foreign markets to conduct business locally originated with Persian traders. These licensed Persian operations maintain consistent quality and service standards across vast distances. They develop detailed classifications for different grades of spices, nuts, dried fruits, and other traded foods. Persian quality standards ensured that buyers received exactly what they expected, building trust that made long-distance trade profitable. The Persian system of standardization made reliable international commerce possible. They invented the commercial systems, financial instruments, and quality standards that made international food trade possible on a massive scale. Modern international business law contains principles that Persian traders established centuries ago. Persian merchants were the first to understand that reliable food trade required more than just transportation. Persian traders developed the first international system of weights and measures for food products. Before Persian standardization, every city and region used different measurements. A pound of saffron in one place might weigh completely different amounts in another place. Persian merchants created standard measurements that allowed accurate trade across thousands of miles. These Persian measurement standards spread along trade routes and became the foundation for commercial measurements worldwide. Persian merchants created the first quality grading systems for food products. Persian spice grading systems became the model for food quality standards worldwide. Persian merchants invented sophisticated credit and banking systems that made international food trade possible. Chinese merchants adopted Persian financial instruments for Asian commerce. Persian banking innovations influenced the development of international finance. Italian banking houses learned Persian credit systems and adapted them for European trade. Persian traders established the first international network of commercial agents and representatives. This Persian agent network became the model for international business relationships. Persian merchants created the first international system of commercial contracts and business law. Persian commercial law influenced legal systems worldwide. Persian concepts about contract obligations, quality guarantees, and dispute resolution became part of commercial law in countries that traded with Persian merchants. Persian traders were the first to understand the importance of market information for successful commerce. Persian information networks gave Persian traders huge advantages in international markets. Persian merchants established the first international standards for food packaging and preservation. Persian methods for sealing containers, using preservative materials, and protecting against moisture and pests became standard practices for food traders globally. Persian packaging innovations influenced food preservation worldwide. Persian traders created the first global supply chain management systems. Persian supply chain innovations became the foundation for modern international business. The idea of licensing proven business methods to local operators in different markets became fundamental to international business expansion. Persian trading houses established the first international franchise systems. Successful Persian merchants licensed their business methods, quality standards, and brand names to local operators in different cities. Persian franchise concepts influenced business development worldwide. The concept of pooling risks among multiple merchants to protect against individual losses became fundamental to international commerce. Persian merchants created the first international marketing and brand recognition systems. Persian branding innovations influenced commercial development globally. Modern international food markets follow trade routes that Persian merchants established. Persian traders established the first international insurance systems for commercial cargo. Persian insurance innovations influenced financial development worldwide. Persian trading networks created the first truly global food economy. Before Persian merchants, food trade was mostly regional. Persian global trade integration established patterns that continue today. Persian commercial innovations proved that international trade required more than just moving goods. Today, when international food companies manage global supply chains, use standardized quality systems. Tomorrow, we explore how Persian culinary diplomacy and food gifts shaped international relations and influenced political relationships between nations.
In the Grand Palace of Persepolis, in the year 520 BC, King Darius the Great is hosting the most elaborate dinner party in history. Representatives from 23 different nations sit at golden tables, eating dishes they have never tasted before. The way to a person's heart and their political loyalty is often through their stomach. When ambassadors from Greece arrived, Persian chefs prepared familiar Mediterranean foods alongside exotic Persian specialties. When Chinese diplomats visited, Persian cooks created fusion dishes that combined Persian techniques with Chinese flavors. Persian kings used elaborate feasts, exotic ingredients, and overwhelming hospitality to impress foreign visitors and secure political alliances that lasted for centuries. This is not just a meal. It is the world's first example of culinary diplomacy, where Persian food becomes a weapon more powerful than any army. And creating obligations through generous food gifts became standard diplomatic practice worldwide. Persian rulers understood something that modern politicians are still learning. Persian royal weddings featured foods from both families' regions, creating fusion menus that symbolized the joining of two political powers. These Persian wedding feasts became templates for diplomatic marriages across cultures. The tradition of state dinners, diplomatic receptions, and using food to honor foreign guests all began with Persian royal protocol. The idea that wedding feasts should represent political alliances that food could symbolize the joining of different powers. Persian chefs traveled as cultural ambassadors, teaching Persian techniques to foreign courts, while learning local cooking methods that they brought back to Persia. Persian rulers, who practiced religious tolerance, used food protocols that respected the dietary laws and customs of different religious groups while showcasing Persian hospitality. The Persian example of using food to demonstrate respect for different religious practices, while maintaining political unity, became a model for managing religious diversity in multicultural societies. And that elaborate dining could demonstrate the importance of political relationships became standard royal protocol. Instead of humiliating defeated enemies, Persian kings honored them with magnificent dinners that demonstrated Persian wealth and generosity while showing respect for local food traditions. Persian culinary diplomacy was actually sophisticated marketing that combined political influence with commercial expansion. The Persian method of using generosity and respect rather than cruelty and humiliation to secure loyalty became a model for successful empire building. Persian coronation dinners featured the finest foods from across the empire, demonstrating the new ruler's wealth, generosity, and ability to provide abundance for their subjects. And that food abundance symbolizes good leadership became standard royal protocol. Persian kings invited allied rulers to participate in Persian seasonal celebrations, creating ongoing diplomatic relationships through shared cultural experiences and mutual hospitality. They sent exotic Persian delicacies to foreign rulers as symbols of friendship and respect. Persian diplomatic feasts featured dishes that combined ingredients from former enemy nations, creating fusion foods that symbolized the new, peaceful relationship. The idea that regular cultural exchanges strengthen political bonds, that shared celebrations create mutual obligations, and that hospitality investments maintain political friendships became fundamental diplomatic practice. The Persian example of using food tribute to create cultural exchange rather than just economic exploitation became a model for more sustainable imperial management. Instead of demanding only gold and slaves, Persian kings required tribute payments that included local food specialties, creating systematic cultural exchange while demonstrating Persian respect for local food traditions. Persian governments ensured that merchants and travelers along Persian trade routes always had access to food and water, creating loyalty and dependence that maintained Persian commercial dominance. The Persian understanding that providing food security for commercial travelers creates political loyalty and economic control became a model for managing trade networks. State dinners, diplomatic gift exchanges, cultural food programs, and using hospitality to build international relationships all follow patterns that Persian kings established thousands of years ago. The idea that sharing cooking knowledge could build political understanding and create cultural bridges became a model for international cultural diplomacy that continues today. When political upheavals created refugee communities, Persian governments provided food aid that demonstrated Persian generosity while recruiting skilled refugees to serve Persian interests. The Persian example of using food aid to build loyalty and recruit talent from refugee communities became a model for refugee policy that benefits both refugees and host societies. The idea that sharing meals can heal wounds, that fusion foods can symbolize reconciliation, and that generous hospitality can transform enemies into friends became part of peacemaking protocols worldwide. Persian merchants worked closely with Persian diplomats to use exotic foods as tools for opening new markets and securing favorable trade agreements. Persian food became a diplomatic currency that bought political access and commercial opportunities. Persian saffron, Persian carpets filled with nuts and dried fruits, and Persian sweets became diplomatic gifts that conveyed messages about political relationships. Modern diplomatic protocol still follows patterns that Persian kings established over 2,000 years ago. Persian kings spent fortunes on diplomatic food gifts because they understood that these gifts created political obligations and friendships. Persian royal kitchens employed over 500 cooks who could prepare dishes from every corner of the known world. This Persian approach to diplomatic dining influenced how governments worldwide conduct international relations. Persian rulers created the first international gift-giving protocols using food. Persian food gifts were carefully calculated diplomatic communications. The quality and rarity of foods sent to foreign rulers indicated the level of respect and the importance of the relationship. Persian diplomatic gift protocols influenced international relations for centuries. The tradition of exchanging luxury foods between governments, using food quality to indicate political status. Persian wedding diplomacy used elaborate feasts to seal political alliances between royal families. Persian diplomatic wedding traditions influenced royal marriage customs worldwide. Persian trade diplomacy used food to establish commercial relationships with foreign governments. Persian merchants understood that introducing foreign rulers to Persian delicacies created demand for Persian products while building political relationships. Persian cultural diplomacy used cooking demonstrations and culinary exchanges to build relationships with foreign cultures. These Persian culinary exchanges created the first international cultural programs. Persian religious diplomacy used food to build relationships with different religious communities. Persian multi-religious dining protocols influence how diverse societies manage religious differences. Persian military diplomacy used elaborate victory feasts to convert conquered peoples into loyal subjects. Persian victory feast protocols influenced how conquerors throughout history managed newly acquired territories. Persian peace treaty celebrations used symbolic foods to mark the end of conflicts and the beginning of peaceful relationships. Persian peace feast traditions influenced how societies mark the end of conflicts. Persian succession diplomacy used coronation feasts to establish legitimacy and secure loyalty from powerful nobles. Persian coronation feast traditions influenced royal ceremonies worldwide. The idea that new rulers must demonstrate their worthiness through elaborate feasts. That coronation dinners established political relationships. Persian alliance diplomacy used annual feast cycles to maintain relationships with friendly governments. Persian alliance feast traditions influenced how governments maintain long-term international relationships. Persian tribute diplomacy used food exchanges to manage relationships with vassal states. Persian tribute food systems influenced how empires managed relationships with subject peoples. Persian refugee diplomacy used food assistance to build loyalty among displaced populations. Persian refugee assistance traditions influenced how societies managed displaced populations. Persian trade route diplomacy used food security to maintain control over commercial networks. Persian trade route food security influenced how governments manage commercial infrastructure. Modern diplomatic protocols still reflect Persian innovations in culinary diplomacy. Persian culinary diplomacy proved that food could be more effective than military force for building lasting political relationships and managing international affairs. Later, we explore how Persian food continues to influence contemporary global politics and international cultural relations.
In the United Nations building in New York, diplomats from around the world gather for a special cultural evening. Tonight, they are not debating politics or negotiating treaties. Persian food continues to serve as a bridge between cultures, a tool for diplomacy, and a way to build understanding between people who might otherwise never connect. When Iranian immigrants teach neighbors how to make Persian rice or herb stew, they are creating personal connections that transcend political tensions. These cooking classes become spaces where people discover their common humanity through shared meals. They are sharing Persian food prepared by Iranian chef Maryam Hosseini. In cities where Iranian and American officials cannot meet officially, they often encounter each other in Persian restaurants owned by Iranian immigrants. These chefs build positive relationships with customers, food critics, and fellow chefs that create better understanding of Iranian people and culture. These restaurants become neutral territories where people from conflicting nations can interact peacefully over familiar food. When Iranian chefs demonstrate traditional techniques while sharing family stories and cultural traditions, they humanize Iran in ways that political programs cannot achieve. Persian dishes served at these events represent Iran's cultural contributions to world civilization, demonstrating that Iran has given the world much more than political controversy. When Iranian students cook Persian meals for international classmates, they share their culture in intimate, personal ways that create lasting friendships and understanding. These restaurants show that Iranian culture is adaptable, creative, and capable of positive integration with different societies. When thousands of people attend Persian food festivals in London, Toronto, or Los Angeles, they experience Iranian culture in positive, welcoming environments that contradict negative political stereotypes. When Iranian chefs compete successfully against chefs from other countries, they demonstrate Iranian excellence and creativity while building positive associations with Iranian culture. This recognition elevates Iran's cultural status and demonstrates that Iran contributes valuable elements to world culture that deserve respect and appreciation. This academic and professional recognition of Persian cuisine helps establish Iran as a legitimate place in world culture and provides educational resources that promote understanding. When countries import Persian saffron, pistachios, or other specialties, they are participating in cultural exchange that builds economic relationships and cultural familiarity. Iranian families who welcome foreign guests with traditional Persian generosity demonstrate the welcoming, peaceful aspects of Iranian culture. When people buy saffron, sumac, or pomegranate molasses for their home cooking, they are incorporating Persian culture into their daily lives and becoming more familiar with Iranian contributions to world cuisine. As ambassadors from hostile nations laugh together over saffron rice and pomegranate stew, they are experiencing the same diplomatic magic that Persian food has created for thousands of years. These restaurants provide neutral spaces where people from different backgrounds can come together and find common ground through shared meals. These online platforms allow Iranians to share their culture directly with international audiences without political interference. This scene happens regularly in embassies, cultural centers, and international organizations worldwide. These catering services demonstrate Iranian professionalism and cultural sophistication to influential audiences. Persian approaches to hospitality and community meals offer practical solutions for humanitarian challenges. Persian dishes served at these events represent Iranian participation in diverse, peaceful societies. These professional connections often led to business partnerships and cultural exchanges. The Persian understanding that generous hospitality creates political goodwill continues to influence how governments and organizations manage international relationships. This academic work demonstrates Iranian contributions to international scholarship and scientific understanding. Iranian cultural centers in major cities use Persian cooking classes to build relationships with local communities. Persian restaurants around the world serve as informal diplomatic outposts. Persian hospitality traditions demonstrate that sharing meals creates human connections that transcend political differences and cultural barriers. Students who learn Persian techniques carry knowledge of Iranian culture into their careers and share it with customers worldwide. During international crises, Persian restaurants often become gathering places for people seeking to understand Iranian culture beyond political headlines. After political tensions make news, curious customers visit Persian restaurants to experience Iranian hospitality and learn about Persian culture through food rather than politics. Persian food festivals in major cities create opportunities for cultural diplomacy that official government programs cannot achieve. Iranian chefs working in international restaurants become cultural ambassadors who represent Iran through their cooking rather than through political statements. Persian cooking shows on international television networks provide cultural education that reaches millions of viewers. Persian food appears regularly at international cultural events, United Nations celebrations, and multicultural festivals. Iranian students studying abroad use Persian cooking to build friendships and create cultural bridges in their host countries. Persian ingredients sold in international supermarkets introduce Persian culture to mainstream shoppers. Persian fusion restaurants created by Iranian immigrants demonstrate how Persian culture can blend with local traditions to create something new and positive. International food critics increasingly recognize Persian cuisine as sophisticated fine dining rather than exotic ethnic food. Persian cooking competitions on international television showcase Iranian culinary skills and cultural knowledge. Persian food appears increasingly in international cookbooks, food magazines, and culinary education programs. Persian agricultural products exported internationally carry cultural messages along with economic value. Persian hospitality traditions practiced by Iranian communities worldwide create positive experiences for non-Iranian neighbors and visitors. Iranian restaurants often become important gathering places for international communities during cultural celebrations or times of crisis. Persian food appears regularly at interfaith dinners and multicultural events as an example of how different cultures can contribute to shared communities. Iranian culinary professionals working in international hotels, restaurants, and food companies build professional relationships that create positive associations with Iranian people and culture. Persian cooking techniques taught in international culinary schools introduce future chefs to Iranian culture through professional education. Persian food blogs and social media accounts run by Iranian immigrants provide cultural education that reaches global audiences. Persian catering companies serving international events introduce Persian culture to business communities, wedding guests, and event attendees. International humanitarian organizations working in crisis zones often discover that Persian food traditions provide effective models for community feeding programs and cultural preservation efforts. Persian food research conducted by international universities contributes to global knowledge about nutrition, sustainability, and cultural preservation. Modern diplomatic protocol still uses Persian hospitality principles when hosting international events and managing cultural exchanges. Persian food continues to prove that cultural exchange through cuisine can build bridges that political negotiations alone cannot create. Today, as the world becomes more connected, but sometimes more divided, Persian food offers a model for how cultural traditions can create understanding, build relationships, and demonstrate that different peoples share common values about family, hospitality, and community. Tomorrow we explore the future of Persian cuisine and how ancient Persian food wisdom might help solve modern global challenges in nutrition, sustainability, and cultural understanding.
In a high-tech laboratory in Silicon Valley, food scientist Dr. Amira Patel is working on something that could change how the world feeds itself. She is not developing artificial foods or genetic modifications. Instead, she is studying ancient Persian farming techniques that allowed people to grow abundant food in deserts for thousands of years. As the world faces climate change, population growth, and environmental destruction, Persian food traditions offer time-tested answers that modern technology is just beginning to understand. Traditional farming methods that worked for centuries are failing as rainfall patterns change and temperatures rise. But Persian farmers develop techniques for growing food in extreme heat and drought conditions that could help farmers adapt to climate change. Her research could help solve modern food security problems caused by climate change. Dr. Patel represents a growing movement of scientists, farmers, and food experts who believe that ancient Persian food wisdom contains solutions to modern global challenges. Persian preservation techniques, creative use of food scraps, and efficient cooking methods could help reduce the enormous amounts of food that modern societies throw away. Persian methods for drying fruits and vegetables, making long-lasting preserves, and storing grains could reduce dependence on energy-intensive refrigeration systems. These ancient Persian underground channels moved water efficiently across vast distances without losing moisture to evaporation. Persian methods for combining foods to improve nutrient absorption, using herbs to enhance health benefits, and creating satisfying meals from basic ingredients offer practical solutions for improving nutrition worldwide. Persian cuisine includes hundreds of delicious vegetarian dishes that provide complete nutrition without requiring meat production, as the world seeks to reduce meat consumption for environmental reasons. Persian vegetarian traditions offer proven alternatives. Persian methods for creating rich soil from sand and rock could help restore damaged farmland and expand food production into areas currently considered unsuitable for agriculture. Persian methods for fermenting vegetables, dairy products, and grains created foods that promoted gut health and prevented disease. Modern food scientists are rediscovering these Persian techniques for developing probiotic foods. Persian farmers developed drought-resistant wheat varieties, heat-tolerant vegetables, and fruit trees that produced food with minimal water. Persian customs of involving children in food production, preparation, and cultural learning could help young people develop healthier relationships with food. Persian traditions of eating different foods at different times of year reduced environmental impact while providing optimal nutrition throughout annual cycles. Persian customs of cooking together, sharing meals, and using food to build community relationships offer solutions to loneliness and social disconnection in modern urban societies. Persian food traditions that naturally control portion sizes, balance different nutrients, and use food as medicine offer solutions to obesity, diabetes, and heart disease that plague modern societies. Persian understanding that food systems affect everything from individual health to social stability to environmental sustainability offers integrated solutions to interconnected challenges. Persian approaches to international food trade that enhanced, rather than destroyed, local food cultures could help develop more equitable and sustainable global food systems. Digital libraries preserve Persian agricultural knowledge. Virtual reality allows people to experience Persian food culture without traveling. United Nations food programs examine Persian approaches to food security. Culinary schools teach Persian techniques. Agricultural colleges study Persian farming methods. Medical schools examine Persian food medicine. Business schools analyze Persian trade innovations. Environmental groups study Persian agricultural techniques. Health organizations research Persian nutrition principles. Persian-inspired restaurants focus on sustainability and health. Persian agricultural techniques are being adapted for urban farming. Persian preservation methods are being scaled for modern food distribution. These Persian plant varieties are being studied by agricultural researchers, developing climate-resistant crops. Persian food traditions offer proven solutions that are both environmentally sustainable and culturally meaningful. Persian approaches to food show that ancient wisdom and modern innovation can work together to create better food systems. Persian traditions of using hospitality and food sharing to build trust and resolve disputes offer peaceful alternatives to political and military solutions. Persian examples of maintaining cultural identity while adapting to new conditions offer models for cultural resilience. Modern drip, irrigation, and water conservation systems use principles that Persian engineers perfected thousands of years ago. Persian methods for saving seeds, maintaining multiple varieties of each crop, and preserving rare plant varieties could help protect global food security against diseases and climate change. Persian methods for growing food on rooftops, in courtyards, and in vertical gardens could help cities become more self-sufficient in food production, while reducing transportation costs and environmental impact. Climate change is making large areas of the world hotter and drier. Persian canal irrigation systems are being studied by engineers working on water conservation projects. Persian crop selection focused on plants that could survive in harsh conditions while providing maximum nutrition. Persian soil improvement techniques that built fertile farmland in desert conditions offer solutions for regions damaged by industrial agriculture. Modern food waste is a major global problem, but Persian food culture traditionally wasted almost nothing. Persian techniques for preserving foods without refrigeration are being studied by researchers developing sustainable food storage systems. Persian cooking techniques that maximize nutrition from simple ingredients could help address malnutrition in developing countries. Persian plant-based cooking traditions are inspiring modern movements towards sustainable diets. Persian balanced eating principles that prevent lifestyle diseases could help address modern health epidemics. Persian urban farming techniques that maximized food production in small spaces are being adapted for modern cities. Persian seed preservation traditions that maintained crop diversity for thousands of years offer solutions to modern genetic uniformity in agriculture. Persian fermentation techniques that created healthy preserved foods are inspiring modern functional food development. Persian seasonal eating patterns that aligned human diets with natural cycles could help people eat more sustainably and healthily. Persian community cooking traditions that brought people together around food preparation could help address modern social isolation and mental health problems. Persian food education traditions that taught children about nutrition, cooking, and agriculture from early ages could help address modern food illiteracy. Persian trade networks that connected diverse regions while respecting local food traditions offer models for sustainable globalization. Persian conflict resolution through shared meals could help address modern social divisions and international tensions. Persian adaptation strategies that allowed food traditions to survive and thrive across different cultures and climates could help communities adapt to rapid social and environmental changes. Persian holistic approaches that connected food, health, community, and environment could help address the fragmented thinking that created many modern problems. Modern technology is making Persian food wisdom more accessible worldwide. Mobile apps teach Persian cooking techniques. Online platforms connect Persian farmers with international markets. Young entrepreneurs are creating businesses that combine Persian food traditions with modern innovation. International organizations are studying Persian food systems as models for sustainable development. Educational institutions worldwide are incorporating Persian food knowledge into their curricula. The future of Persian cuisine looks bright as more people discover its relevance to modern challenges. As the world faces increasing challenges around climate change, health, and social division, Persian food traditions offer hope that human ingenuity and cultural wisdom can create solutions that benefit everyone. Tomorrow, we explore how individuals and communities can practically apply Persian food wisdom to improve their own lives while contributing to global solutions.
Sarah Martinez never thought she would become a Persian food expert. 6 months ago, she was like most busy Americans, eating fast food and feeling tired all the time. Persian cooking principles can transform any kitchen and improve any diet, regardless of where you live or what ingredients you can find. The key is understanding Persian philosophy about food rather than just copying Persian recipes. Then her Iranian neighbor invited her to learn Persian rice cooking. Today, Sarah grows Persian herbs in her apartment, cooks Persian meals for her family, and feels healthier than she has in years. Every Persian meal includes something sweet, something sour, something crunchy, and something soft. Set your table beautifully, even for everyday meals. Take time to enjoy meals together without distractions. Invite neighbors and friends to share Persian-inspired dinners. These Persian traditions build stronger social connections and make eating more meaningful. Make Persian-style pickled vegetables using vinegar, salt, and spices. Dry fruits and vegetables using Persian methods that preserve nutrients and flavor. Persian culture treats cooking as meditation and stress relief rather than just work. Brew quality tea using Persian methods that extract maximum flavor and health benefits. Serve tea with small sweets and nuts like Persian families do. Create daily tea times that provide breaks from busy schedules. Invite friends for Persian-style tea visits that focus on conversation and connection rather than formal entertainment. Plan weekly menus that include Persian balance principles. Prepare Persian-inspired base ingredients that can be combined into multiple meals. Cook Persian stews and rice dishes that provide multiple meals, while getting more delicious over time. Persian meal planning approaches make healthy eating easier and more sustainable. Take time to enjoy chopping vegetables, stirring stews, and creating beautiful presentations. Apply Persian energy management through food timing to improve daily performance. You can start small with simple changes and gradually incorporate more Persian wisdom as you learn and experiment. The key is beginning somewhere and allowing Persian food principles to gradually transform how you think about cooking, eating, and sharing meals. Practice Persian stress reduction through cooking when dealing with anxiety. Persian food wisdom offers practical solutions to many modern health and lifestyle problems. Every Persian technique you learn, every Persian principle you apply, every Persian tradition you adapt makes your life better while honoring the wisdom of Persian culture. Cook Persian-inspired comfort foods when you feel anxious or sad. Keep notes about which Persian techniques work best in your kitchen. Record family reactions to Persian-inspired meals. Share your Persian cooking successes and failures with online communities. This documentation helps you improve while contributing to the global preservation of Persian food wisdom. Shop at Persian grocery stores where you can find specialty ingredients and learn from knowledgeable staff. Ask questions of Persian neighbors, coworkers, or classmates. These connections provide learning opportunities while building understanding between different cultures. Share Persian recipes on social media with explanations of their cultural significance. Write about your experiences applying Persian food wisdom to your own life. Teaching Persian food knowledge to others helps preserve this wisdom, while deepening your own understanding. Eat at Persian restaurants that serve traditional dishes made with authentic techniques. These businesses preserve Persian food culture, while providing resources for your own Persian cooking experiments. Use Persian cooking methods as a way to slow down and connect with yourself. Create Persian herb preserves that keep fresh herbs available all winter. These Persian techniques reduce waste while creating pantry staples that enhance meals year-round. Organize cooking classes where neighbors teach each other Persian-inspired techniques. Create community gardens that grow Persian herbs and vegetables. Plan potluck dinners where everyone brings Persian-inspired dishes. These Persian-style community activities build social connections while spreading culinary knowledge. Apply this Persian balance to your own cooking. Add nuts for crunch, dried fruits for sweetness, lemon or vinegar for sourness, and yogurt for smoothness. Choose cooling foods like fresh herbs and fruits in summer. Buy seasonal ingredients when they are fresh, abundant, and affordable. This Persian approach to seasonal eating improves nutrition while reducing environmental impact. Many Persian plants grow easily in containers or small gardens. Try growing Persian basil, mint, cilantro, and parsley. Plant Persian vegetables like eggplant and squash. Growing your own Persian ingredients makes you more connected to your food while providing fresher, more nutritious ingredients. Persian balance makes meals more interesting and more nutritionally complete. Her story shows how anyone can bring Persian food wisdom into their daily life. You do not need to be Iranian or live near Persian restaurants to benefit from Persian food traditions. Start with Persian rice cooking techniques that can improve any rice dish you make. Persian rice cooking creates perfectly separated grains with amazing flavor. Heat oil in the bottom of a heavy pot. Add rice and water using Persian measurements. Cook on high heat until water bubbles, then reduce heat to low and cover tightly. Let steam for 45 minutes without lifting the lid. This Persian technique works with any type of rice and creates better results than standard cooking methods. Learn Persian spice layering that can transform simple ingredients into complex, satisfying meals. Persian cooks build flavors in layers rather than mixing everything together. Start cooking onions until golden. Add warm spices like cinnamon and cardamom. Then add acidic ingredients like tomatoes or pomegranate. Finally, add proteins and vegetables. This Persian layering technique creates deeper, more balanced flavors in any dish. Adopt Persian fresh herb traditions that can dramatically improve your nutrition and health. Buy a variety of fresh herbs every week, including parsley, cilantro, mint, and dill. Wash, dry, and store them properly so they stay fresh longer. Eat fresh herbs with every meal, just like Persian families do. This simple Persian habit provides antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals that most people never get enough of. Practice Persian balance principles that can make any meal more satisfying and nutritious. Create Persian hospitality practices that can strengthen your family and community relationships. Always cook extra food in case unexpected guests arrive. Grow Persian herbs and vegetables that can improve your diet while connecting you to Persian food culture. Learn Persian preservation techniques that can reduce food waste while creating delicious preserved foods. Practice Persian seasonal eating that aligns your diet with natural cycles while supporting local agriculture. Eat warming foods like stews and nuts in winter. Apply Persian stress reduction through cooking that can improve mental health while creating better food. Start Persian tea traditions that can create daily rituals for relaxation and social connection. Build Persian community cooking traditions that can strengthen neighborhoods while sharing cultural knowledge. Support Persian food businesses that can help preserve Persian food culture while introducing you to authentic Persian ingredients and techniques. Share Persian food knowledge that can spread Persian wisdom while building your own understanding. Teach Persian techniques to family members and friends. Create Persian meal planning approaches that can improve nutrition while reducing decision fatigue about daily meals. Apply Persian problem-solving approaches that use food wisdom to address modern lifestyle challenges. Use Persian digestive principles to address stomach problems. Document Persian food experiments that can help you learn while contributing to the preservation of Persian food knowledge. Join Persian cooking groups on social media. 10 Persian cultural events in your community. Connect with Persian communities online and in person that can deepen your understanding while building cross-cultural friendships. The beautiful thing about Persian food wisdom is that it improves your life while connecting you to thousands of years of human knowledge about food, health, and community. Persian food offers practical solutions that work in modern kitchens with busy lifestyles. Tomorrow, we conclude our journey through Persian food history and explore how Persian culinary wisdom can help create a better future for everyone.
How did really Iran secretly shape the way the entire world cooks and eats? After traveling through 5,000 years of history across 3 continents, and into kitchens from ancient Persepolis to modern Silicon Valley, we have discovered something amazing. When you taste the perfect balance of sweet and sour flavors in your favorite dish, you are savoring Persian wisdom about how food should make people feel. When your family gathers around the dinner table to share a meal, you are participating in Persian traditions about how food brings people together. Persian food influence is not just history. It is happening right now, all around us, every single day. Every time you enjoy perfectly cooked rice, you are experiencing Persian techniques perfected in ancient royal kitchens. Climate change threatens food security, but Persian farmers develop techniques for growing abundant food in desert conditions. Social isolation damages communities, but Persian hospitality traditions show how shared meals can bring people together. Persian restaurants in every major city serve as bridges between Iranian immigrants and their new neighbors. Persian cooking classes create friendships between people who might never otherwise meet. Persian food festivals celebrate diversity while showing how different traditions can enrich each other. We can learn from Persian wisdom about sustainable agriculture, while using modern technology to share this knowledge globally. Persian food wisdom shows us that improving nutrition, building community, protecting the environment, and promoting peace are all connected goals that can be achieved together. We can preserve Persian hospitality traditions while adapting them to modern urban life. Persian food culture stayed alive because it continued to solve real problems and meet real needs for people living in different times and places. We can maintain Persian food quality standards while making Persian nutrition accessible to everyone. Poor nutrition causes widespread health problems. But Persian food wisdom demonstrates how simple ingredients can provide complete, satisfying nutrition. New Persian restaurants open every month in cities around the world. Persian ingredients become available in more supermarkets each year. Persian cooking techniques appear in more cookbooks and cooking shows. The story of Persian cuisine is really the story of human connection. Iranian immigrants continue to adapt Persian traditions to their new homes, while maintaining the essential spirit of Persian hospitality and generosity. Agricultural researchers investigate Persian farming techniques for solutions to modern environmental challenges. Social scientists examine Persian community traditions for insights into building stronger, more connected societies. People will always need nutritious food, strong communities, and cultural connections. Persian cuisine shows us that the best way to change the world is one meal at a time, one recipe at a time, one shared experience at a time. Persian traditions offer proven solutions to these needs that have worked for thousands of years and continue to work today. The Persian gift to the world was not just techniques and ingredients, but a philosophy about how food can make life better for everyone. Every time you cook a Persian-inspired meal, grow Persian herbs, or share Persian hospitality with others, you are contributing to this ancient tradition of cultural sharing and human connection. Every Persian technique you learn and teach, every Persian principle you apply and share, Every Persian tradition you adapt and preserve helps ensure that Persian food wisdom continues to enrich the world. Persian families who maintained their food customs in diaspora communities kept this wisdom alive for future generations. Persian restaurants and cookbook authors who shared authentic recipes ensured that Persian knowledge would not be lost. Persian families who shared meals with neighbors. Persian merchants who taught cooking techniques to foreign partners. And Persian cooks who preserved traditional recipes created changes that transformed the entire world. Persian cuisine became great by learning from other cultures while sharing Persian knowledge freely. Persian cooks adopted new ingredients from China, cooking techniques from India, and preservation methods from Central Asia. People around the world adopted Persian techniques not because they had to, but because Persian methods worked better than what they were using before. Persian spices made food taste better. Persian cooking techniques created more nutritious meals. Persian hospitality traditions built stronger communities. This openness to learning while generous sharing of knowledge created cuisine that was richer and more varied than any isolated food tradition could become. Countries that want to influence global affairs might learn from Persian examples of soft power through culture. Businesses that want to expand internationally might study Persian approaches to adaptation and local partnership. Communities that want to build bridges might adopt Persian traditions of generous hospitality. For thousands of years, Persian merchants, farmers, cooks, and families have been sharing their knowledge with the world. Spanish paella and Indian biryani both use Persian rice techniques. They build bridges between cultures while maintaining their own identity. They preserve ancient wisdom while solving modern problems. They work together to create something stronger than either could achieve alone. Persian cooks who maintained ancient techniques while adapting to new ingredients created dishes that were both authentic and original. Persian farmers who preserved old varieties while developing new crops created agriculture that was both sustainable and productive. Persian families who welcomed strangers with abundant meals created friendships that lasted generations. Persian merchants who shared their knowledge freely built trade relationships that enriched entire regions. Persian cooks who taught their techniques to others created culinary traditions that continue to feed millions of people today. French pastries and Turkish desserts both follow Persian principles about balancing textures and flavors. Instead, they offered their wisdom freely, allowing other cultures to adapt Persian techniques and make them their own. Italian herbs and Chinese seasonings both reflect Persian understanding about how plants can heal and nourish. They did not force their culture on others. This generosity created something beautiful. Persian food wisdom became the foundation for cuisines that seem completely different from each other but share common roots in Persian kitchens. Persian food culture proved that the best way to influence the world is not through conquest or force, but through generosity and hospitality. The Persian approach to food offers solutions to many problems facing our modern world. Most importantly, Persian food culture shows us that diversity makes everyone stronger. Today, as our world becomes more connected but sometimes more divided, Persian food offers a model for how different cultures can work together. The young Iranian chefs creating fusion cuisine in restaurants worldwide are continuing the Persian tradition of adaptation and innovation. They honor their heritage while creating something new. Persian food culture teaches us that tradition and innovation are not opposites. This balance between tradition and innovation offers hope for addressing modern challenges. The Persian understanding that food affects everything from individual health to community strength to international relationships offers integrated solutions to problems that seem disconnected. Persian cuisine also demonstrates the power of cultural preservation. Despite centuries of political upheaval, foreign invasion, and social change, Persian food traditions survived and continued to influence the world. This cultural preservation was not passive resistance to change. It was active adaptation that kept Persian traditions relevant and useful in changing circumstances. The story of Persian cuisine proves that cultural influence happens through attraction rather than force. This principle of influence through attraction offers lessons for our modern world. As we conclude this journey through Persian culinary history, we see that the story is far from over. Persian food continues to evolve and influence global cuisine. Young people of Iranian heritage living around the world are rediscovering their food culture and sharing it with their friends and neighbors. Food scientists continue to study Persian nutrition principles and discover new applications for ancient Persian knowledge. The future of Persian cuisine looks bright because Persian food wisdom addresses timeless human needs. Perhaps the most important lesson from Persian food history is that small actions can have enormous influence over time. Not just great food, but great wisdom about how food can heal, nourish, connect, and inspire. You can be part of this continuing story. The story of how Iran shaped the world's culinary landscape is really our story. The story of how food brings people together across time and space, across cultures and boundaries, across differences and divisions. This is the true power of Persian cuisine.